I have finally figured out what I want for Christmas this year, and that is to gross $150,000 in total business revenue. And here's the thing, I am almost there. In fact, I am actually about $16,000 away, but I want to challenge myself to go a little bit above that. I'm challenging myself to do $20,000 this month in total business revenue, so in December, and that is completely by myself. So earlier in the year, I had some employees. In fact, I'll show you here. So some of these numbers aren't completely accurate. This one right here, $5,000, that's November, so that's this past month. I actually did $12,000 for November. So some of these aren't 100% accurate. I did about 34 in March, and that was when I had an employee. I did like 18 here. So again, some of these numbers aren't 100% accurate, but aside from November, so my $12,000 month not being included in here, I'm at 129. So that actually brings me up to right around 134. That means I'm damned close. I have an entire month to do this. At the time of recording, it is November 30th. So I've got some work to do. Essentially, my rules are I can only do roof cleaning, window cleaning, and gutter cleaning. I'm not going to do any Christmas lights. This is like bare minimum for the business. This isn't doing any seasonal add-ons or anything like that. I want to do this just by gutter cleaning and just by roof cleaning, just to show you how possible this stuff is. We can kind of dive in here a little bit. So I'm running these two ads. These two are currently running. Currently, I've had 7 leads at $15 a pop and 19 leads at $18 a pop. It looks like that one's on a downtrend, so it looks like I'm gonna have to do some work there. I've got some leads coming in every day, and I'll show you here. This is where I'm starting out. So this is In-House Call Pro, my CRM. This is this week. So the 30th is today, and then tomorrow I have already got 2 jobs scheduled, okay? So I'm going to be working 4 days a week, actually on the jobs, and then Wednesday, so Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then Wednesday I'm going to save for going out and doing estimates, or maybe I can fit in a couple of small jobs on that day. Because again, my goal is to hit 20 grand in a month. I've never done that by myself. We can go back here and I could show you. Like I said, when I had an employee working for me earlier in the year, $34,000. That one says 36, it's a little inaccurate. So I've hit those numbers before, just never done it completely by myself. So that's my challenge. And then of course to hit 150 grand. So I've got 2 jobs for tomorrow. So that's Monday, so that is the first. I've got this one right here, which comes out to a total of 700 before tax. So 756 after tax. And then I've got a second one scheduled for tomorrow. And that one is a total of $300 before tax. So that brings me right up to $1,000 for tomorrow. And then I have also got Tuesday somewhat scheduled. So again, I'm starting this out pretty, I've only got 2 days on the schedule. I've got a couple of, I've got one other job scheduled for this month, and it's like $150. It's a roof blow off. So day 2, so this is Tuesday. I've still got to schedule something for it. I've got one gutter cleanup. It's actually a roof blow off. They have gutter guards, so it's actually going to be pretty easy. But that one is $220 plus tax. And then this one is another roof blow off. They have gutter guards. And this one is $250 before tax. So I've got almost $500 scheduled for Tuesday. I've got $1,000 scheduled for Monday. So we're off to a pretty good start. I've also got a couple of estimates up in the air that I'm waiting to hear back from, one of which is right around 450, 460, something like that. And that one's ironically the same thing, a roof blow off with gutter guards. And then I'm also doing a powder treatment. So that one's going to be pretty easy. And then, because that one was actually a recurring service. So that one I did last year, and they also own 2 homes. So one of which is a rental, which is the 450, 460 job. And then the other one is it's on their main house, and that one's like a $200 or $250 gutter clean. So anyways, I've got some good jobs on the schedule so far. And I'm going to be updating as much as I possibly can with the new leads that I get, estimates that don't get approved, and estimates that do get approved, and what my schedule ends up looking like. And of course, I'm going to be updating you with the actual costs. And I haven't paid it off quite yet, but at the date, because my credit card, so I put every business expense on a single credit card. That is purely so that I can track easily my revenue and expenses, right? So this is what I currently owe. It's the 30th. I'm going to pay this off today, and I'm going to have to pay it off again on the 15th, but then I can quickly add up. So I'll show you throughout this challenge, I'll show you what it ends up coming out to. So this number is just from last month, so don't pay attention to this one. It's going to be at 0 probably after I hit stop on this video. So then we can actually see exactly how much I made in actual profit. But again, my goal is revenue, and I'm hoping to hit 20 grand. I'm going to have to do, like I said before, on the Facebook ads. So this one seems to be doing pretty good, but this one apparently is on a downtrend. Spent 377 so far, and it's bringing in at 18 bucks per lead, and I'm okay with that. That's prices are between like 200 and 500 bucks on average. So at 20 bucks a lead, I can afford that. That's not a big deal. And this one here, so my ads are actually performing pretty damn well right now. I'll probably got another like week or so before these ones start to fatigue. Especially one of them is a Thanksgiving special, so I'm gonna have to change that one up a little bit. Facebook ads, they charge you like once every 2 weeks, or once you hit a $500 benchmark or a $1,000 benchmark, and then of course it goes up from there. Depends on how much you're spending per day. I think I owe like $22 that it hasn't actually been charged. I actually haven't been charged for regarding the Facebook ads. I'm pretty much starting this month at 0 with no, because I'll pay off the credit card, so I'll have 0 on that, and then I'll have I'm at $22 that I owe Facebook, pretty much at 0. So this will be a really good test to be able to show you exactly kind of what the margins are in this business when you're running solo. When you've got one other person, if you run it right, like you said, I mean, I did 34 grand in 1 month there. Like on that one was a good 25 grand in total profit there, and not including my own paycheck, of course. So you can run really good margins on this. That one, I will say, that month and the month following, because I used to have more employees. Check out the first video that I posted. I kind of run further into this because I had a lot of chaos this year, and if you looked closer at that chart that I showed you a little bit ago, I took some months off during the summer because of how brutal last year was. And so anyways, I was just kind of recouping mentally. If you run this business, you know, pretty lean, and you don't mind still getting out on the jobs, that kind of thing, you run a one-man truck versus a two-man, I made that mistake, you can make really good money doing it. So I just kind of want to show you that. And I'm not going to do, again, I'm doing roof cleaning, gutter cleaning, and window cleaning. So this is all stuff you don't even, at least in my state, you don't need to be a general contractor. All you need is a business license and some basic insurance. All right, so I'll show you this one as well. So this was a new lead that I got coming in, and I'm gonna cover up the address because he sent me the address here. But you can see, you can read through the text message. That's the first, that text message I send to like every customer. It works really well for actually getting responses. He just responded with a thumbs up and his address, so that made it really easy for me. And then here's actually a really good response. So he was actually out of my service area. He was out of my service area by about 30 minutes. I typically only like to stay around a half hour from home base here. So that's gonna end up meaning a hour round trip. This is how you can extend your radius without actually losing any money. Because, I mean, you might lose, 50 bucks. I don't like to charge anything less than 150 bucks an hour when I'm actually being on the job. But if I add another 100 bucks on there, that ends up being pretty damn worth it for an hour of driving, right? I'm literally driving to the job. I can eat my McDonald's, I can do whatever, and still make $100 for that. So anyways, I'm gonna end up sending this estimate out. I don't have any other estimates to write up. I'm just waiting to hear back from some people. But anyways, so this video is going to be a little bit more boring than the coming ones, because I'll actually start showing you on the job what my jobs look like, how much I'm getting paid, etc., etc. So this is just kind of a brief overview, because technically the month of December hasn't even started. It starts tomorrow. So I wanted a good fresh start, and I wanted to be able to kind of update you as to everything, kind of where I'm starting from. And then be able to go on from there and show more of the fun stuff, how I'm doing some of these jobs, what my days actually look like, what time I start, what time I leave, anyway, all that kind of stuff. And I will say I am working against a difficult factor, it being December. So December's in Washington can get a little tricky. Earlier this year, It was half of January and almost all of February. The roofs had a ton of frost on them in the mornings, and they pretty much didn't dry out except for, when by the time it starts kind of getting dark. And so you only get like 2 hours of actual roof work time. Part of the reason I wasn't as ballsy with it was because I had employees, and I'm not going to send employees on a frosty roof. I'm more willing to do stuff like that myself because I know how to do it, and I've been doing it for 6 years. This year, I might have to play it a little bit more risky to hit that $20,000 mark. Yeah, we're just going to kind of get after it. But that is a factor that I'm going to have to think about. And if I run into any of those days, this morning in particular was way colder than yesterday. It was actually 30 degrees this morning, and there was like ice built up on all of the cars, and roofs were frosty. So I'm going to update you as to weather things. And this is going to be kind of if you've never done this stuff, if you're thinking about doing this kind of business, this is going to be a great kind of show for what it actually looks like and what is possible. The only other update I wanted to say is I might have to work some pretty long days. On average, because I've been taking it easier and my prices, I've raised my prices a good bit. I typically am working, 4 or 5 hours on the actual job. And then of course you add in drive time there because sometimes I'm running 3 jobs. So I end up working 6 or 7 hours a day actually on the job between drive time and actual work time. But I might have to pull some longer days to pull this off to hit that 20 grand because I'm gonna have to start working some longer days most likely. Bear with me on the uploads. It might not be absolutely daily. I'm gonna do my absolute best. I might have to upload 1 or 2 in a day just because some days are gonna be very long and I still have to get some sleep. Anyways, if you can be patient with that, I wanna make a banger series for you and show you exactly what this business looks like in the day-to-day and how possible it is for you. So anyways, I'll see you tomorrow.